Cameron of Tasmania is a major supplier of the Australian Pacific oyster industry. This was one of the many small businesses burnt by the New Year bushfires that ripped through that state. It was an extremely stressful time for Ben Cameron and his family, but they carefully managed and came out in one piece. To find out exactly how they got through that extremely tough time, stress management expert Sara Redman caught up with Ben.
Recently you've experienced quite a disaster situation. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of people would have heard and seen about the bushfires that were in Dunalley in January of this year. What that did was it cut off the power and water supply to all of our hatcheries, so that affected all of the little baby oysters. Well, what was communicated to me originally was that we'd actually lost our business, and thankfully that hadn't happened. It was misinformation, but I was contemplating the loss of my business, which is a third generation that looks after 35 employees and hundreds of regional businesses.
What did you do then to handle the stress of the impact on your business and having to, I suppose, claw your way back?
My fiancée identified in me that I was very, very stressed. I might have thought that I was a little bit stressed, but it was much more apparent to her that I was quite stressed. You know, I had to go and talk to my GP. That's, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just, I'm a bloke. I
Yes.
do that. And I did the same thing. But sometimes you do need to go and get a bit of a kick. We started to try and really focus on what was really important.
Yeah.
The fact is that nobody died in the Dunalley bushfires.
And that will strengthen your capacity to support your team here as well too, because you've demonstrated how you've handled stress in a healthy way, which role models for them, but you're more likely to be able to identify when some of your team might be stressed and help them with that as well too. Now in the business, how do you feel about where you're at as a business owner and your capacity to move forward?
I think that once you've dealt with something like that, you know, if you're going through that yourself and you get through it, then you realise, oh, hang on, that's probably the worst that it's going to be for quite a long time. So all of a sudden that underlying base level of stress that you might have suddenly seems a little bit more insignificant.
The key tips that we give to businesses in that chronic stress space are firstly to make sure they factor in regular time for reflection. So regular reflection on two levels, for you as an individual, but also for you as a business owner. So as an individual, you need to actually make sure you have space in your life, that you feel balanced and that you're doing things just for you that allow you to recover your energy reserves. Then for you as a business, once a week at a minimum, 2 to 3 hours, spending time on the strategy of the business. A lot of business owners get caught up in the operational side of things, and that's obviously risky because you lose sight of your direction, your why. You know, why are you doing this? Where are you trying to get to? The second tip is to consciously respond to stress. And I mentioned earlier that we don't often even recognize we're stressed. And this is what you've done. Find the positive in the stress. Stress actually has a purpose. Stress is meant to move us to action, and stress is a positive thing. If we had no stress in our lives, we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't change.